Hello and welcome to this walkthrough. Inspired to do this because if you're using Google Workspace and you've got Gemini turned on, it's finally started doing some useful stuff rather than constantly asking you whether you want to turn a spreadsheet into a table or whether you want to summarize a folder or nonsense like that while Google were playing catch up on the AI world. So what we found really useful is in our weekly knowledge calls, having Gemini take notes and create summaries, and most importantly, and I'm going to keep this short because I'm going to have to redact a lot of this, is the suggested next steps section, which, as you can see here, probably through a blur, this gives a very good action list. Well, this action list is very good. You still don't need someone to put it into your work management tool. We use Asana, you might use Monday, or I don't know, there's millions of them out there. So what I'm going to quickly show you is how we automated that process to get everything into Asana. I'm not going to go into huge details in the video because you can probably figure most of it out. Starting from the beginning, when we started playing around with this, because it is a time saver, we put in the actual ID of the meeting notes document once we were emailed it. And that worked fine. But what we have since done is use the watch documents, and it then watches the Meet recordings folder, which is where Gemini puts this information. Now, one of the things that would be useful down the road, if anybody from Google is listening to this, is for us to have a centralized folder for the entire business, because then you'd only have to watch one. But as it stands, my entire team have got this running. And then the next step is you obviously get the content, and that gives you everything, including the section where it says suggested next steps. This bit here is just how we did it. We created a make data store, which has the Asana ID and name of the Asana user. And we did this because we don't always want to pull that directly from Asana, which you can do. So there is a separate automation, which I'm going to show you in a second, that runs on a monthly basis because we don't have that much churn, employee churn. You can run it quicker, and it just puts everything into a data store. Again, obviously, if you have a huge organization, you can do this per department and so on. So here's how we did it. We used the Asana connector. We list the user, and then we put everything into a data store where we get the user's ID, their email, and their name. That's all we need. So it's as simple as that. And then we have everything inside a make data store, which just makes things quicker. So that is what this bit does. So we then have the user ID, the email, and the name. And then here we have a JSON module to just get the data out of the array and flatten it all. And we need to do this because we don't want to iterate. We want to give Gemini all the relevant users for this meeting. And we used Gemini to do this. Don't know why, felt like we should, seeing as Gemini created the notes. Let's not personalize it too much. These are GPTs after all. Use ChatGPT, OpenAI, and may actually be better because it does a better job of forcing the output. But I'm going to put all of this in the related article. So we've literally super simple. You need to connect it to a project to set this up, but that's not the scope of this run through. And then in here, we tell it what to do, and we give it the information to do it, what to do it with, which is how to find the right IDs, which comes from this module. And then we pass the output. And the reason why we pass this output is, as many of you know, you can shout at a GPT as much as you like and say, hey, just give me the array, or just give me the JSON object. Don't put JSON in front of it. Don't give me your reasoning. All that nonsense. Every once in a while, it'll go off on one and tell you why it did certain things, why it woke up in the morning, all that rubbish that you don't need. So what this pattern does is literally make sure that from the output you've got from Gemini, you have only got the array. And this is the best way we could do it at the time of recording. Down the road, things might get better. But it works. This works. And then in here, what we chose to do is we chose to create a project section. So we've got one project in Asana, which is called Meeting Notes. And we use the title of every meeting to create a project section. And in here, we then pass the output of this module. And again, this module is not doing anything interesting other than making sure we've got a JSON array, which is what we want. JSON array is basically everything in square brackets, not curly brackets. Because it's an array, you don't need an iterator. It'll just loop through everything. We then go for the project, weekly call actions, create with the section, which we created here, add the task name, add the task description, and assign it to the right person. And that is it. And what this does is for every call, it just puts in the actions. And like I said, it is pretty robust. It's pretty good. We've done categorizations, but again, I wasn't going to show that in this video. You can get a sense of how you might do that. Now we've got a scenario that runs automatically, puts in the meeting notes. It is making us way more productive because we're not forgetting stuff. And even if the notes put in something erroneous, at least there's a thought process behind the person just deleting that task or maybe moving something together. Even though we're using Asana, the entire process can easily be replicated into any work management tools, like I said, Monday or whatever you're choosing to use. So thank you again for watching. And yes, as I mentioned, I'm not going to go into massive detail. If you do this, you run into problems, just put in a comment. We'll be happy to help. And the links to the prompts and everything that we've written will be at the bottom of this video, wherever you are watching it. Thanks again.